The Arrival, a Shadows of History documentary. Signs on the horizon. In the year 1519, the world of the Aztecs seemed stable. The Mexican Empire dominated central Mexico. Tribute flowed toward the capital. Temples were filled with ceremony. The sun rose each morning as it always had. But far to the east, beyond the sea, something unknown appeared. Along the shores of the Gulf of Mexico, enormous ships were sighted. Wooden structures with wings of white cloth. Floating houses that seemed almost alive. Messengers rushed toward the capital. In Tenochtitlan, Emperor Moctezuma listened in silence. Strangers had landed on the coast, and they carried with them a world no one had seen before. The men from the East. The leader of these strangers was Hernán Cortés, a minor nobleman from Spain, ambitious, intelligent, ruthless. He had not arrived as a simple explorer. He came with soldiers, crossbows, steel swords, cannons, and horses, animals unknown in the Americas. To the people who first saw them, horse and rider seemed like a single creature. Cortés had one objective: gold. Spain was expanding across the oceans, and stories of a wealthy empire inland had already reached the Caribbean colonies. Cortés believed those rumors, and he intended to find the source.
The road inland. Cortés did not march alone. As his expedition moved inland, he discovered something unexpected. The Aztec Empire had many enemies, cities that had been conquered, peoples forced to deliver tribute, communities that lived under the shadow of Mexica power. Among them were the Totonacs, who quickly offered their alliance. Soon after came another crucial encounter, the Tlaxcalans, fierce warriors, longtime enemies of the Aztecs. At first, they fought the Spaniards in brutal battles, but they soon realized something. These strangers might be the weapon they needed. An alliance was formed. From that moment forward, Cortés no longer commanded a few hundred men. He marched with thousands.
The gifts of Moctezuma. News of the strangers reached Tenochtitlan again and again. Descriptions grew stranger each time. Men in shining armor, weapons that roared like thunder, animals that ran faster than deer. Moctezuma faced an impossible question. Were these simply invaders? Or were they something else? Ancient traditions spoke of powerful beings who might one day return from the east. The emperor chose diplomacy. He sent envoys to meet Cortés. They carried extraordinary gifts: golden masks, jewelry, intricate ornaments shaped like serpents and suns. Among the objects was a magnificent golden disc representing the sun itself. When the Spaniards saw the treasures, their reaction was immediate. Their eyes glittered. Their hearts raced. Cortés later wrote that the sight of gold filled his men with joy beyond measure. To the Mexica, these objects were sacred offerings. To the Spaniards, they were proof. The Empire of Gold was real.
If you've made it this far and enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free for you, but it helps us immensely to keep creating this kind of content. Thank you.
The Fatal Invitation. Moctezuma hoped the gifts would satisfy the strangers. He hoped they would take the treasures and leave. But the gifts had the opposite effect. They confirmed everything Cortés had dreamed. A city of unimaginable wealth waited inland. So the expedition continued, across jungles, across mountains, through volcanic passes where snow touched the sky. In November 1519, the Spaniards reached a ridge overlooking the Valley of Mexico. Below them lay a vision that stunned even the conquistadors. A vast city rising from the waters of a lake. White temples, stone palaces, long causeways stretching across the water. Tenochtitlan, one of the largest cities on earth. Bernal Diaz del Castillo, a soldier in the expedition, later wrote that the city looked like something from a dream.
The two leaders finally met. Moctezuma emerged in ceremonial procession. He wore rich cotton garments and gold ornaments that reflected the sunlight. Servants spread fine mats before him so his feet would not touch the ground. Cortés approached with armed soldiers. Steel met feathers. Two civilizations stood face to face. Moctezuma welcomed the Spaniards with ritual hospitality. Garlands were placed around Cortés's neck. Gifts were exchanged. Words were translated through a chain of interpreters, including a young woman known as Malintzin, later called La Malinche. But beneath the ceremony lay tension. Moctezuma saw unpredictable strangers. Cortés saw opportunity.
A city of wonders. The Spaniards entered Tenochtitlan as honored guests. They were astonished by what they saw. Wide streets, canals filled with canoe traffic, markets larger than any in Europe. The great marketplace of Tlatelolco contained thousands of vendors. Food, textiles, ceramics, exotic goods from across the empire. Bernal Diaz later wrote that the scene was so extraordinary it was hard to believe it was real. But once again, something puzzled the Spaniards. Gold was everywhere in ceremonial objects, yet it was rarely used in trade. In Europe, gold meant money. Here, it meant something else, sacred power.
The trap closes. For several days, the illusion of peace held. Cortés studied the city. He observed the temples, the palace, the emperor, and he made a decision that would change history. The Spaniards seized Moctezuma inside his own palace. The emperor of the Aztec Empire became a prisoner in his own capital. Cortés believed this would give him control over the empire, but he misunderstood the world he had entered. Moctezuma was powerful, yet the empire did not revolve around him alone. The balance had been broken, and the city was beginning to stir.
The calm before the storm. At first, Tenochtitlan remained quiet. Moctezuma still spoke to his people. The Spaniards still walked the streets. But beneath the surface, anger grew. The Mexica watched as sacred gold was melted into crude bars. They watched as strangers occupied their temples. They watched their emperor held under guard. Two visions of the world had collided. One saw gold as divine light. The other saw gold as wealth to be seized. The fragile peace would not last. Soon, the city of the lake would erupt. In the next episode of Shadows of History, celebration turns into massacre. The night of blood approaches, and the legend of Montezuma's gold moves one step closer to catastrophe.
If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more in the future, please give us a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and why not, write to us in the comments what other kinds of stories you'd like to see on our channel. Thank you.